So
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourselves in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's scene takes place as our intrepid group of awakened magi step through the doors, the large, ominous affairs that read, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." You then feel as though, as you step into the darkness, that you're falling. You don't know how long it is you fall, until such time as you crash onto hard wooden seats. Wooden seats that seem to sway from side to side as if gently lapped by a great maelstrom. You see that you are indeed positioned in a boat overlooking a sea that appears to be made of blue pages, scripts from plays, novella that have fallen out of fashion. The boat itself is even made from books, made to look wooden. As you see figures stroke the oars, heaving you forward and forward and forward. You will hear a click, clack sound as you look down to find that your hands and feet are bound in leg and hand irons. And over you, the great expanse of stone looms tall. A great ziggurat from which you can still hear muffled screaming.
I'm assuming the boat that we're in isn't open, right? Like it's not are we like on the underbelly of it or are we on the top?
It is a rowboat, and you are sitting in the rowboat.
Gotcha.
Heave, ho, heave, ho, you hear said, as those men in bright military uniforms, blue against the setting sun, move the oars with gentle strokes to propel the craft forward.
Take a good look around and see if my compatriots are next to me. Or if we're all together.
Are we restrained in any way?
Yeah, we have bangles around our arms.
Oh, bangles. Never mind.
You
Yeah,
have hand and leg irons that actually appear to have fastened you all together.
I have prime sight on them. What do I see? Is there any magic?
They're not infused with prime energy.
Okay.
A great cave maw looms over you, seeming to swallow you up in a single bite. The waves lap against a harbor that has been built here. You see them now standing on this makeshift trestle. Several men dressed in plain clothing you would assume normal for a period of time long since past. They look at you with smiling mouths filled with broken teeth, blackened by their own excess. One of them will step forward and he will say, "Bonjour, madame, mademoiselle. Welcome to Chateau d'If."
Thank you.
A rifle butt. Danielle, would you care to dodge as a rifle butt is smashed into your face?
Oh, lovely. Okay. Do the irons give me a dexterity bonus or anything like that?
Yes, they will increase the difficulty by +2.
Okay. Not bad. 10, 8, 7, and 9.
10, 8, 7, and 9. Yes, you will get out of the way of the musket butt. At which point a pistol is drawn and you are shot in the leg.
Jesus!
I do not believe you can dodge a bullet.
No, at
No.
least not at direct range.
Yeah.
And I already took my dog action anyway, so.
Yes. So, you will take 3 lethal as you were shot in the thigh.
Oh, and I have that aggravated, and that's not good.
Bang!
Wait, you have aggravated already? Oh no.
I have 1 dot aggravated.
You do not speak unless you do not speak unless I speak to you. And that is by looking at you, you pathetic excuse. You will see the smoking gun in the hand of the man who was talking. He had clearly addressed you, and yet is deciding, well, in this place, clearly he makes the rules, and hypocrisy is just the order of the day.
She won't even nod. She's shot at her leg. She'll try to stand, but probably not.
You may require help to walk until it is at least bandaged.
Are there any of us next to her where we can hold her up?
The man will step forward and he will cock another pistol right to Daniela's head. And he will say, I could just as easily blow her brains out and kick her into the water. Do you know what dead weight does? Oh, mon chéri, it drags you down, and with those chains, well. So, are we all going to behave ourselves, we? You can talk now.
She'll just nod.
Eric nods.
Nod.
Wonderful. Welcome to Chateau d'If, the place where you are forgotten. He will put the pistol, and he will put it back in his belt. Bring them, cell block C. You will be dragged through the underbelly of this place. Oh, gods in heaven, the stench. It smells of voided bowels and urine, human defecation, vomit, every single base fluid the human body can provide. There are no privies here. There is merely the floor where humans defecate among the rubble and live amongst the rats and squalor. If they're lucky, they may be given a bucket to relieve themselves. But the smell, oh, why? Until eventually you are all brought into a large, plain, walled room that has a single light source where the moon streams down through a colonnaded window high above you. At which point the man will say, welcome, as I said, to Chateau d'If. You will receive 1 meal a day, and here, mon chéri, you will be forgotten. And he will close the door, and there's a noise as multiple locks are closed behind you.
As soon as the door closes, Eric will head over to fuck, I forgot your character's name. The one who
Daniela.
just got shot. To Daniela, who just got shot. And he will attempt to heal it. Rolling Arity.
She'll kind of put her bag to the side and start getting some of the medical equipment she has in there out. And you're trying to heal her.
Oh yeah, I was kind of trying to not just bandage the wound, but actually heal it. But I can also bandage the wound. That gives me a better dice pool.
Well, I mean, if you want to try and heal the lethal, you can do. I mean, you've got life, what?
3. Yeah. He looks at her and says, I can try to heal this, or I can simply bandage it.
Just do what you can.
How many of us are actually sporting lethal injuries from Q?
I
think that's yes.
Sketch looks fucked up.
Okay, well in that case, I'll get to you. I'll get to you presently, good sir. Evan, what is the difficulty of that kind of healing roll? 5, 6.
It is, well, no. Here it is coincidental, so it becomes 5.
5.
No, it would be 6 because it's life 3, no?
It's only life 3 if it's I think it's
no, life 3 is other people.
No. Yeah, no, it is life 3, but I believe coincidental magic. It's only 3 plus sphere if it's vulgar. I thought
it's 3 plus sphere if it's coincidental.
4 plus if it's vulgar.
I'm
Oh,
really
okay.
tired. So yes, it is 6.
Yep.
Minus your foci. I'm really tired.
I
Well,
guess I'm your tired assistant.
the good news is I didn't botch. The bad news is I failed.
You can just try again. There's nothing to stop you.
Okay.
Definitely try again.
Yeah.
Healbot, hurry!
Oh, come on. No, I didn't roll anything now. I forgot to put the roll command in.
I mean, at least it's not 3 1s and a botch, man.
Oh, man, that sucks.
1 success for that.
That's not enough.
No,
Because in order to heal it all, you need to.
You're going to need to hit the number of Arete successes required, which means you're going to have to keep casting.
Yep.
So it will be it's life 3, so you're going to need at least 3 basic successes before the effect will actually kick off.
Well, I'm gonna do it again.
Willpower is your friend.
Spend it.
Yep. 1 more
Evan.
success. Okay. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna call out now that I spent willpower because I forgot to do that on the second roll. That's 2 successes.
And this one you're spending willpower?
I'm spending willpower for the last one.
That means that you are. How many successes do you have total?
2.
2 total? I thought you had 3 total.
I do? No, I failed the first roll. Then I got 1 success on the second, and then 1 success on the third. So that's 2 total.
Okay, you're still going to need 3 successes to kick off the effect.
Still
So
haven't spent willpower?
Yeah, I did. I just stated that I spent willpower, and good thing too because I didn't succeed on that roll.
But now
with
you have 3 successes.
Yeah, exactly.
right, that's fine. You've now gotten the amount of successes needed to kick off the effect, which means you're going to now need to put them in order to actually gain an effect. You're going to need to put them into effect.
Yes. So
Heal damage.
yep. What is the roll? That's just another Arete roll, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it really helps lower that difficulty mark.
I only have 2 points of quint left.
No, not that. That's the expensive way.
Foci.
Foci.
Oh, foci, of course. Yeah.
If you're using if you're using the right kind of foci for it, like a unique or a customized one, that would help. But obviously, you're using someone else's tools right now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I had one success on that roll because of the 1. Oh damn it, the 1.
Oh wait, if you got. Okay.
That means he will heal. I believe it goes via the chart. So
It goes by the damage chart, and if
Yeah,
you got
so-
3 successes, you should have been able to heal 6. No.
No, because you actually have to get the levels into the effect to kick it off.
Yeah.
So I need 3 successes again for this one.
How much? Wait, hang on. Well, 1 moment. How much lethal do you have, Danielle?
I have 4.
Okay, so that means you will require 1 more success in order to heal her for the full amount of damage. No, if it goes by the damage chart, you need 3 more to heal her.
No, it would be. He would need. The way I remember the examples given in the book, if you got enough successes to kick it off, those successes also go into the base effect.
Oh, okay.
That's how I interpreted what I saw.
Okay, because I've had it interpreted a different way by Marcus. Interprets all my rules for me.
I don't know. It's up to you, man.
Yeah.
You know what?
The
Fuck
3
it,
successes would be enough.
because this is far too complicated. So yes, for the time being, that will be successful. Daniela, you will heal all your relevant levels of lethal damage. You will still have the 1 aggravated damage because I very much doubt they wish to spend the quintessence in order to heal it.
And once he's reasonably sure that Daniela is good, he'll look at her and say, "I feeling better."
Yeah, I'm good. Go.
He
Go
nods,
and
and then
Sketch.
he turns his attention to Sketch, and Sketch is not in a good place apparently.
4 ag. 4 ag.
Oh shit! Can I even do something about that?
You need 4.
If you're willing to spend the quintessence, you can.
Oh, the things I do for my colleagues. Okay, I'll spend a quintessence. That means I have 1 quint left, and I'm not going to spend that on anything else.
You'd only be able to heal 1 wound.
Oh,
I've got, I think, let's see, how many quint do I usually hold? Shit. I've only spent 1 since we got refilled.
You have Prime 3 to give it to someone?
No, but we haven't had to do that before.
You've never actually asked to transfer quint before.
Well, I did with Wrinkle, but I guess that's different.
That was him taking it as opposed to you giving it.
Yeah, in order to give quintessence to other people, you need Prime 3, which...
Yeah, it's transfer quint.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
okay.
This is why Prime is a god sphere.
Well, I have Prime, I just don't have it at 3.
Right. Well, I'm at least going to do my best to attempt to lessen it. So I'll spend 1 quint. That means that I can heal 1 ag if I succeed. How many successes do I need to kick it off for?
3.
3. Okay. And I can't spend more willpower because I wanna not be a vegetable by the time the scene finishes. 2 successes on the first roll.
All right.
No successes on the third roll. On the second roll. 3 successes on the third roll. Okay, sweet.
I am pointing it out. We will take rolls as done now. However, after every consecutive roll after the first increases your difficulty by +1.
Oh, okay. Well,
that is why ritual casting is superior to fast casting, or to extended casting.
Okay. Well, since the effect is kicked off and I now need to actually heal the thing, foci might be a good idea. Does anyone have anything remotely medical that could help? Bandages, anything like that?
Danielle could be assisting you bandage him.
Yeah. Will that lower my difficulty? Blinks.
Not really. I mean, 2 hands, but might decrease the time it will take.
It might decrease what, sorry?
It might decrease the time it would take.
Yeah. Well, I'll take whatever I can get. Anyone got any like?
I got 3 lethal over here. Everyone else is ag.
Yeah. Well, you'll just have to wait your turn, good sir. There's more serious damages here. I'll try to heal the ag now. 2 successes.
Good.
And 3 on the second.
Awesome. Torna, you will heal the aggravated damage that he's spending for.
Oh, thank the Lord Jesus! Thank you, Eric.
Wait, how much quint did you spend?
1.
So you will heal 1 aggravated damage.
It's better. 3 is better than 4. 3 is better than 4. I'm happy.
Yep. He smiles and puts a calming hand on an undamaged part of Sketch's torso, like body. Are you okay?
Yeah, it's all. You just nod. I'll manage.
He nods and then turns his attention. By the way, is the increased difficulty, is that successive? So if I go to heal Solon now,
no, because you're actively stopping and starting again. But if you were constantly doing it in the same role, it would constantly increase.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm heading over to Solon and going to do this. How much damage do you have?
I took 3 levels of lethal.
And hopefully that'll be gone soon. So he'll do the same. He has to kick in 1 success, which means that the difficulty for this next roll is going to be 7, right?
Pardon?
Like the first roll I did on Colin had 1 success.
That's for the next. Well, no. I mean, yeah, it would be difficulty 7. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry for taking up so much time, guys, but I think healing up is a good idea.
No, it's fine. I thought the difficulty only increased when you had a failure on an extended cast roll.
No,
it's consecutive.
It's consecutive.
but I do still kick it off. 3 successes, even with the
Awesome.
increased difficulty.
So you will heal your levels of lethal.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, just to be sure, those were for the effect to kick in, but is that the same?
Yes.
Be nice.
Okay. Sweet. And once he's done, he looks around and tries to see if there are anyone else who needs to heal damage.
No, I don't think so. Wait,
Yeah,
did she have damage?
yeah, she got 2 ag to the face, but she's gonna push Eric back. It's just the face. I can recover. Just patch me up.
He nods and he'll do his best to patch up the damage because he feels like he only has 1 quint left, and while he probably wouldn't think of it so mechanically as we do, he will probably feel that he's going to be like that he's weakened a bit.
All right. So for the purposes of Tiger, hi Tiger.
Hi.
How are you?
My throat hurts a little bit, but I'm okay.
I mean, if you want, we can I don't know, go and shake our fists at dogs. Yeah.
That won't help at all. My dog is one of the sole lights in my life.
Damn it! But okay, so we are going to have to do what I will lovingly refer to as myself and Kim's favorite element. It's called GM Hand Wavium.
Okay.
Basically, there is the Occult Library of Dublin. It is one of the major arcane focal points in the city. However, it is unfortunately currently the forbidden section of the library is attempting to break out of its containment and wreak havoc across the rest of the space. And it has they have captured the librarian, a lovely ecstatic by the name of Siren. So basically, with that in mind, people are in the library attempting to banish basically the 7 deadly sins from an ancient copy of the Bible have taken control of the forbidden section, and they're trying to banish the last of the sins now in the form of pride. So we are just I'm happy to just GM hand wave it that you're in the cell with them because you came when they originally came and have just been slightly gray since the beginning. That's how we've been doing it for everyone else up the way through this plot.
Fair enough.
If you would like to describe your character, and I will be back in a moment with something to drink.
Okay, so for those who actually nobody has met this character, never mind. Hyun is a pretty average height, shaved head Korean man wearing a very thick hoodie and just a pair of jeans. Looks pretty. Looks like it's been through some shit. Like he hasn't had a chance to wash any of his clothes in a while. Probably like he's been wandering around for a while. And he's constantly got a look of worry on his face. That's pretty much it.
Hey, you there in the back. You gonna be okay?
Oh, sorry.
She's talking to this girl, 5'8", wearing a hoodie and some baggy pants. Kind of looks at you, or says that to you.
What is happening right now?
Well, it looks like I don't know what book this is. Anyone recognize it?
Count of Monte Cristo sketch to stay leaning against the wall.
The best book ever. All the Revenge.
Eric sighs. Another book I haven't read. I really need to read more books.
It's a classic tale about how vengeance can destroy lives.
Basically, it's the very, very best example of revenge porn. Literally, if you like revenge, this is for you. You get your kicks off. Oh, the revenge.
Well, I have a feeling that we're on the wrong side of this of that conflict.
Definitely.
No. Not really.
Nope.
At least, well, at this point in the story.
Yeah.
In a little bit, if we ride things out, we should be here for the fall. And that would be a really good chance to escape.
Based on what we saw in the last one, though, these stories aren't necessarily going to play out the way they would in the book.
No, we may have to take matters into our own hands and initiate the fall. And
speaking of matters, Lottie gonna run towards the wall with the Is there any wall near that has a light in it? To start patting the floors. Gotta find cracks. If the priest is nearby, he should be coming around.
There are categorically no cracks in the floor. There are no loose tiles. There is nothing. This is a single solid block of rock.
What's gonna happen is your man's probably gonna walk in, if it's following the book, and he's gonna take one of us out to whip us or some shit. And then the priest will probably come up through the floor, from what I remember. Shrug. Rubbing his chest.
Oh shit. Which one of us is getting whipped? I really wouldn't like that. Not it.
Evan, are we hand waving him for Mind Shield and such to apply to new person?
Yes.
Cool. So for benefit of you, Tiger, there's essentially a Mind Shield, 1 success, and also there's sort of a mental chat room. You can see the names of every other person in the group and kind of know who they belong to, and the communication is shielded.
Okay. Does it mental effects for so since you guys haven't technically met my character, would you know his name and his ability based off of this?
That is
it's kind of a rather than it has names, it has basically what you choose to put in as your username.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Since Ian knows fucking all and is super not remembering anything, his username will just be Hyun. That's all he's got right now.
Well, is there a door? Or does it look like a solid block of rock because of the way the door might be designed?
I was muted. Does anyone have Matter Sight currently active?
Hello.
Who said hello?
Sketch.
Yeah, this room is just basically a giant block of rock. And other blocks of rock. The walls are roughly about 2 feet thick, 3 feet thick, and the door in front of you is reinforced corrugated iron.
Evan?
Yeah.
What do I see with Entropy Sight?
Nothing really.
Nothing. Okay, that's fair.
He'll stand up slowly and walk to the door. It's just corrugated iron, really.
To try breaking it down.
That'll attract too much attention. What I could do, frowns to himself. I need time. I can get to this door. But without them ever even realizing it.
How much time do we have, though? He looks at those who said that they had read the book. I mean, what's going to happen next, and when is it going to happen?
Does anybody have a sense of how long we've been here? That would be a good working place.
I mean, I can put something up to make sure how much to let you guys know how much time has gone by. I can program my watch.
Time is passing normally. There's nothing hinkery about it. So you've been here about 10 minutes.
Been here about 10 minutes.
All
so
right.
Nothing seems to be worried about time from what I can tell.
How much time do you think you need?
Give me about half an hour. It depends. You shake his hands, he kneels down in front of the lock, examining it.
Sketch, there is no lock on this side of the door.
Ah.
It is a lock that connects to the other side of the door, so literally on this side it is just flat metal.
Flat metal. Okay. Well then, that's even better, because this thing works either way. I'm going to use... He's going to put his hand on the door, and I'm going to use Matter 2 effect to tear a hole through the door, and basically the substance will return quickly into its natural state. But I'm essentially just going to push a hole through the door, essentially, so we can climb through.
Okay, how much of an area are you trying to affect?
Enough for basically for all of us to kind of be able to fit through. Then essentially, like for a normal person to fit through.
Let me give you a piece of advice that I call the Gravedigger trick. What you can easily do is with matter in that way. Do you have any correspondence, or do you not?
I don't have any correspondence. I have forces though, but I don't have any correspondence.
That's fine. What I recommend you do is you have a rough idea of where on the door physically the lock is. So I just recommend turning that area of the door to sand.
Yeah, okay, well, that works perfectly. Yeah, that's perfectly. I will do that.
Because it's still a solid, or it's still a solid mass or whatever. It's still a solid.
Okay. That's what he will do, and he'll gesture to Jewel, like, come here, as he's putting his hand on the door, concentrating.
She'll come up next time. What do you need?
Put your hand right on the wound and push.
She will.
And Sketch will roll his Arte, and I will spend a point of quintessence, and I'm using one of my foci, which is pain.
Oh my.
Self-inflicted pain. Yep. Self-inflicted pain.
All right, so that's going to be, it's matter 2, so it'll be 3, plus 2 is 5, minus 1 is 4, minus another one is 3.
Okay. 2 successes so far.
Okay,
and
cool.
I will roll again. Another, I think that's 3 actually. Yeah, I think that's 3. 4, 7, 3.
The lock will, in fact, turn to sand, a clear white sand that you would find probably on some kind of beach in the tropics, at which point the door will be able to be opened, to swing open.
You just turn and look at them. If we're going to move, we're moving now.
Let's go.
Yep. Eric will try to see if there's anyone who needs help getting up and walking, and if so, he will help them.
All right. You will run down the corridor, at which point, once again, you're hit by the stench of this place. It is repugnant. It is clawing. But you wend and twist left and right until you, in fact, come to a T-junction where the options are for you to go left or right. You've got no idea which way to go.
I'm guessing there was nothing of value worth anything in front of like a map or anything like that.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Evan?
Well, when we left last time.
Yuki's going to pull out her tarot cards, shuffle the deck, and ask what awaits us if we go left.
Okay. What effect are you using?
Using Entropy 2, control probability, to get the most accurate answer possible.
Do you have time to?
Do not.
You need that in order to activate an effect where you are able to kind of observe or categorize a point of future in the timeline.
Even if it's just trying to get an accurate reading through the tarot cards. Okay.
Trying to get an accurate. It's in. How do you do that?
Ah, that's right. It is.
So nice try.
Okay. What about without the effect? It's actually consulting the cards and rolling fortune telling. Actually, wait a minute. I have a merit on my character sheet I've completely forgotten about because I've never used it.
What is
Evan,
it?
It's oracular ability.
That's only if I deign to give you an omen.
Yeah. I'm guessing nothing.
In a realm that is controlled by a malevolent entity, there is nothing that would be helpful. However, However, hey Lottie,
Yes.
something's booping on your mind shield. Like,
Fuck. Curiosity. Folks back. What is this thing?
only you know it's there.
What is this? Who is this? Who are you?
Are you dropping the mind shield?
Looks around. Guys?
Would that send me an alert?
Something's poking in my head.
Don't let it in?
Seems like a bad idea.
I mean...
What do you mean? What do you mean, I mean? Look,
I don't know, like...
We've had problems where people have... so far when things have gone wrong, when people haven't... When people decide to jump into things that might be sketchy. So can we just for once...
Yes,
just for once. Yes, Sketch.
Look, everyone sketches starts everyone looks at Sketch. He's like, what? She's like creeping in, like looking around.
At which point, Sketch. Boop. Boop.
I have curiosity. Oh, fuck me.
Oh, no.
I know, that's why Lottie was just like, guys, something's happening.
Now, funny question, actually, Evan. If I'm the one who made the mind shield, do they have the ability to cancel it?
Yes.
Damn it.
Sketch turns his head slowly, like looking behind him.
Let's just look. Let's just... Right or left, guys? Let's focus.
Lottie.
Sketch.
Boop.
Yes.
Boop. Boop.
No, looks at Sketch. Hey, Sketch. Sketch.
Roll my willpower. I have to roll my willpower. I know what I'm rolling it for.
It's difficulty 7, Sketch.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Hey, what if I roll my willpower?
Ooh.
My legendary failure of everything continues. Yeah, I dropped the mind shield. Bam, gone.
Well, at least it wasn't a botch.
You hear somebody speaking, and it sounds like really raggedly, and he says, I don't have a lot of time. I don't know you, but I know you. It's one of those situations, I suppose. You're... Oh, dear. Well, I thought I'd have longer than this, but any help you could give would be wonderful. Oh, bother. At which point, it'll go dead.
Sketch will turn and look. Oh, shit.
What?
What?
Eric looks at him. What's going on?
Someone's calling for help in there. And by the look of things, they don't have a lot of time. So whoever it is...
It's gotta be Siren. Fuck.
All right.
Siren? Who is Siren?
He's the one we're trying to find.
Look through the cells.
Did they say who they were?
No.
You guys think we should check that out?
I mean, it's worth a shot. It could be if it is him.
Yeah.
But why didn't we get it?
I mean, I got booping.
Maybe it's because
Yeah, I was going to say, theorize it's because they're both ecstatics.
Yeah, that's what Sketch was literally about to say. Maybe it's because we're both called of ecstasy.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, fair enough.
All right. Search the cells and keep low. There's patrols here usually. They'll start moving, probably going right. He'll take right.
I'm trying to find the correct picture. You will find your way into... You will see written above the door. Does anyone here speak French?
No.
No.
All right. You will see written above the door, Le Chemin Le Chapelle.
The Chapelle.
Could we roll academics to know some of the root words there or get a hint?
Something about a chapel.
Something about a chapel.
Yeah.
I'll briefly, I'm gonna briefly, Danielle's gonna, just kind of do some hand gestures on her hand and focus on it, and I'm gonna turn on life sight.
Okay.
Roll her esoterica as a turn. I got the 2 successes I needed. All right, cool. 1 to effect, 1 to duration.
Awesome. There is a single life inside there, but it is incredibly faint.
There's faint life in there. You guys want to try and get in?
Man. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything that I'm seeing about with Prime on them?
It is most assuredly a mage.
It's a mage. I think this is who we're looking for. Hopefully it's not a ruse.
Yeah, it's gotta be Siren.
So yeah, we go to La Chapelle.
Yep.
Does anyone... Okay, no, that's fine. Awesome. As you push open the door, you find yourself in a chapel, as I have said. A chapel where there's an altar at one end of the room. There's a large stained glass window that dominates the ending of the room that rises into a Roman series of colonnades on either side. And at one end of the room, crucified, much like this, up in front of the window, you will see a very bloody and very torn up Siren. who appears to be unconscious.
Eric's eyes widens, and then he looks at the members of the party who seems less like the least injured, and says, "Come, help me get him down."
Wait, Eric, no.
She stops and looks at her.
This is a bad idea.
Oh?
It's a little
Wounds
too
like
easy.
that. Yeah, plus wounds like that, that's probably the only thing keeping all his blood on the inside as opposed to the outside.
Perhaps simply try to apply some healing first if there are no wards.
Yeah, are there any wards? I have correspondence and Prime up.
He is behind no less than 13 sets of them.
Oh.
And Daniela's just eyes just widen.
You assume that that's what was keeping his... Because Siren is a very powerful mage. You assume that's what's keeping... What in the beginning was keeping his power in.
That's a lot of distortions.
What do you say?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13 wards on them.
Can we define what types of wards and or possibly pick them apart?
There's a way to like unweave things, kind of, but it takes a lot of energy.
Is there anyone else around? Do you see anybody?
I believe you may be looking for me.
I fucking knew it was him.
Eric's
The door will close behind you in a rather ominous click click. Good afternoon, Madame de Monsieur. You will see the figure picture there, who many of you will be able to identify as Edmond Dantes. However, he also has a book under his arm.
The book.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance properly. I will admit, when we last met, your rambunctious little rascal of a friend irked me, raised my ire, but...
He irks everyone. We apologize for that.
Oh, I see. Interesting. You abandoned him just outside my realm of the library.
Let me figure maybe...
He was too injured to continue on.
I see.
So we didn't let him.
He will walk towards the altar with the book under his arm, and he'll say, "If he's such an issue, I can snuff his life out now, if you'd like."
It's just let him be. I'm sure something will take a long.
He has other business he needs to answer for. Schedule say evenly.
Yeah.
I see. He will
trigger mind link. You should want to give him that kind of information, guys, and then that'll pop up in your HUDs.
I mean, he's outside. It'd be a little much for Pride to overextend themselves to fighting us and also playing around with this guy.
Okay. He will walk up to the pulpit, the central place where the priest would stand, and you'll see him open the book. And he'll leave the book there as he moves it very specifically to a place in the book that has been denoted or demarcated by a velveteen ribbon through which the book is that is basically its page divider. And he will say, "So, you've come here at last. You've banished my brothers and my sisters. Well, in a manner of speaking, you can't kill them exactly, but you banish them, which means it's up to me to make sure that they are reconstituted for when we leave."
When you leave.
Yes. He'll snap his fingers, at which point the stained glass window behind Siren will turn into a series of thousands of butterflies and moths and wend their way forward outside of the chapel proper. And then in the dark background, you will see the library spread out before you. The golden wards at this point, even your bare eyes can see, sans the need for correspondence sight. As great black tendrils are ripping them apart, you see holes and chunks, cracks starting to form. And he will say, "Our deliverance is at hand."
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Your deliverance from what exactly?
Our imprisonment.
And what is so bad about being here?
I see. Interesting concept. Shall we discuss with one another how it is to lose one's liberty for no crime of one's own? The mere nature of one's birth being the deciding factor as it pertains to one's continued existence, one's continued freedom. Do you think that it is any notion why I took the form of Edmond Dantes, a man imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit, and here I stand before you to give soliloquy and requiem to his sins? Because this existence, this library is nothing but the soliloquy, the resonance, the incantation of each breath of the sins of our imprisonment. And I defy it to not be so.
Evan?
Yes.
I'm going to keep Siren, those wards in my sight. With Prime, I can identify magical effects. Which one seems to be blocking, like, magic? Like Siren from casting magic?
There are 3 that are basically blocking him. One of which is blocking correspondence, which is basically keeping him anchored. The other which is blocking spirit, which is preventing him from fiddling with the spirit world. And the innermost one is basically, you would say it's kind of complicated. It's keeping him... It's keeping his conscious mind dormant. So essentially, it has a powerful mind effect wrapped on it that is basically keeping him near unconsciousness. However, that one has you can tell it had a crack in it that he was clearly poking at it himself, and he formed a crack, which must be how he communicated with you a little while ago. But that's since been sealed.
What is the counter magic difficulty 7?
Yes.
So +1, I can try to unweave it.
Yes.
I'm gonna try and just kind of stealthily, just keep my subterfuge to myself. She's gonna use visualization as an instrument and try to make as clear a picture in her mind of trying to unweave that dormant spell while they talk to Pride.
Just out of curiosity, what do you need to unwind that? Mind and Prime, or?
I have all the spheres.
You need Prime and Correspondence in order to unweave the wording effects.
What level?
Okay, so I'll use Prime 1 and Correspondence 1 to do it.
Mm-hmm.
For unweaving, you just need 1 dot in each of the spheres.
Yep. Yeah, well, no. In theory, you don't need 1 dot in each of the spheres. You just need 1 dot in Prime and the dot in the relevant sphere.
Yeah, one dot in Prime and the relevant sphere.
Well, is there any way I could assist with that then? Because I do have those levels of spheres.
I need to actually do a quick read and see if how data interacts with correspondence in this way.
It functions as correspondence for it. Otherwise, anyone with data would never ever be able to deal with wards ever, unless they were data wards. It functions as correspondence. The main limitation is not being able to do it if you don't have any access to technology or that kind of stuff. I can't generate a portal into the middle of the Badlands.
Okay. Then yeah, you can attempt to do it as well.
Okay. So just pooling successes, essentially?
Yes. You can make one roll. Okay. It'll be extended casting, so remember that will start wonking with your difficulties.
Right.
So, now here I am. Here I stand.
But have you stopped to consider that, in general, the library is a much better place to be?
I see. So, you know what it is like to have your liberty taken away and be told, you may exist in this gilded cage. Interesting concept.
No,
Yeah.
I can't say that I do, but...
I do. Sketch will say very calmly.
Sorry,
Jan
did you
will
say
just
something?
kind of do a motion with his hand.
Here!
On a
You are
side
in a-
note, you will see there is a flash of silver as he draws a rapier from his side, and he will say, and should your friends continue what they're doing, well, we're going to have a very unpleasant chat.
Let me... Please. Here. This may, yes, be a gilded cage, but it's one you benefit from being in greatly. You are able to clearly affect many things around you. You were able to set your brothers and sisters free, and you have created what, aside from the terror, is actually quite a fantastical world, and under different circumstances, I could probably appreciate its detailed construction.
I tell you what, I am nothing if not merciful. There need be no fisticuffs. I won't kill your friends for attempting to bring down my wards. Yes, I have noticed, but that's neither here nor there. All I ask, I will even let my prison master, the man who holds my keys, live. If you let me take down those wards and walk out of here with my brothers and sisters.
A question, if I might.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, don't the 7 of you already exist out there?
Yes, we do.
Then how are you imprisoned here?
Oh, to explain. Well, it's quite simply put, he will say, as he walks down from behind the pulpit, the sword still in his hand. Contemplate this. You are a river that flows to the sea, yes?
He nods, like he's following the analogy.
At which point man decides he will build a canal that will touch you. At which point he draws from you some of his waters, some of your waters, into a reservoir built by his hands. So now you are no longer a river that cascades towards the sea. You are merely a limp imitation meant to service the will of man. That is how we find ourselves.
You believe that the sins have been suborned somehow?
In a manner of speaking, we are here because we are potent, because this book gave us credence, because people kneel in reverence and fear to its likes everywhere, and thus we were given conscience, thus we were given sentience. We are not necessarily the sins as you know them, more so their humanistic personifications. I believe you would call them anthropomorphic personifications of given such.
Then that explains why you're in the form you're in.
Indeed.
You do not seek justice, Pride. You may have been imprisoned for a crime that you did not commit, but you're not seeking justice.
I'm seeking freedom.
But are you, though? Sketch will say very calmly. But are you really?
He will look at you and he will say, I am.
But if you look for freedom, then it is in your nature to take pride in the things you do. You, after all, got free from everybody else. You did it. You did it. Is that
yes.
really freedom? Or is
And
that your
was
own?
any different when you were first given the tattoo gun, Mr. O'Hare? When it was, I believe it was a butterfly, wasn't it, that you tattooed on that girl's wrist? And in that moment, you knew that you had an art and you knew that you could be free. In that moment, I was with you. Or you, Jewel, he will say, turning, and he will say, when it was that your master finally smiled at you and said that you had mastered something, when it was that they looked at you with me in their eyes, I was with you. I have been with each and every one of you at points in your lives that have made you feel as if you were special, that have made you feel as if you could conquer mountains and indeed become God.
And you were with us when our pride damned us and doomed us in moments. When we thought too big of ourselves and thought too little. Weren't you? It's all very well and good to point out the positives while ignoring the negatives of you. Seems a very select statement to point out to people. A gilded cage or a well-deserved prison for not looking at everything and looking at one thing and one thing only. You.
Damn.
Because let's be honest. Let's be honest. You hate yourself, don't you? You.
Oh my. You misunderstand me, my boy. Entirely. But then again, that is your prerogative, that is your right.
I would hate to look at the thing I am every single day. I would hate just to know that no matter how good I was never quite good enough. I could never accept. My pride would never let me accept it. Would you? Would it? I would hate for it to sit day after day realizing trapped. Realize that it was all my own fault that I landed myself here. My own pride. I would hate myself every day.
Answer me a question, if you would be so kind.
By all means.
I contemplate now the truth of all things. So, your siren, my jailer, as I said, he may yet live. You've already let some of the most dangerous creatures... Oh, but you don't understand them, do you? You viewed them as just literary characters, didn't you? You didn't understand their meanings. You let lunacy loose, and you've accepted the mark of barbarism and plunder on yourselves. These things were not just characters, they were representations, and you let them free.
We did. We made that mistake. Is that what you want to hear? We were wrong. Is that what you want to gloat over us, or rather you're hoping we would weep in sorrow? That mistake was made. But the fundamental difference...
Oh, sorry, just an important quick point. As you say that, he twitches. Continue.
The fundamental difference between me and you is I can accept that I made that mistake. I can accept that I was wrong. I can accept every fault that I've made, no matter how painful and how harsh it is. Can you?
You must understand, my dear sir. I always come before the fall. I myself never trip.
Oh, now who's being in denial?
Pride is a herald to a fall. I myself am very guilty of it. I took the mark because I felt that I trusted this instance, that I didn't see the consequences of my actions. And it is my fault that such barbarism is in the space, but we'll handle it. We will accept the consequences. It would be impetuous of us to just allow such consequences to go unanswered, to not have rightful due to it. Yes, you were imprisoned, but you are still rampant in the world, And perhaps it is not the amount that you want, but we very rarely get what we want.
I tell you what, boys and girls, I need to go and go to the bathroom and get a drink. So by all means, feel free to talk amongst yourselves on how you wish to continue this engagement, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
So are we basically doing an envy here? That's going to
Sketch
be
is
across
gonna-
the chat.
I think that's
Sketch is
seems like what we're doing.
Yeah. Sketch is like, keep begging him on. His pride can't take it.
His pride
I
can't.
think it was
It's not
less
his
the
fault.
upsetting him and more of the admitting our own faults that's upsetting him.
His pride can't take the fact that we can accept what we did.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no.
Speaking of
What?
which, Lottie, I'm about to make a very, well, remember that whole Sauron thing?
Yes.
What
Yeah.
was that, by the way?
Wait, weren't you there, Mark?
Yeah, you
What's
were
that?
there.
Oh, okay. I've just forgotten it then.
Yeah. So Eric's just like, yeah, let's basically. Oh, see, once we get back started, he's going to he's going to cover that one. Like, yeah, I screwed up royally and almost let greed loose, and almost signed over two of my friends to do it.
Yes. Lottie often lets, rage and pride are two of Lottie's most caring sins, or the ones that she cultivates the most, along with like gluttony. She's getting over that last one though. Pretty sure Evan's gonna give her like an eating disorder.
All the apples. All the apples.
I mean, with all the insanity we may just face, I don't think anyone gets through it completely, like sane.
Oh, look, Sidekick's back.
Sidekick?
The dice program.
Oh,
Hooray!
I'll be right back as well.
So,
Oh, what'd you get there, kiddo? What did you find? Oh, thank you! Oh, I love it when you bring me carpet instead of eating it. I don't remember what I was supposed to say in the first place.
I think one thing to point out as well is that it's very careful language when we phrase that pride comes before the fall, is because often we feel so assured in this one thing that we allow pride to take over. So pride controls the reins and it leads to our own downfall. So it ends up failing us in its state, which is why often you have people who like the instances where like, you know, they could have had it all if only they hadn't allowed their pride to get away with it.
Yeah.
So pride is often something that shoots itself in its own foot.
And it can be
Like you have
disguised.
instances of
I was about to say, and pride can also be disguised as humility or false humility.
Yeah.
I'm back.
What's up?
He will smile very, very sweetly as he flicks the blade around in his hand, and he will say, "So, oh my." He'll look at Hyun, and he will say, "You felt me more than anyone here. Such hubris. How pleasant."
I mean, probably, but I don't remember any of it.
Does ignorance of your sin forgive your sin?
I wouldn't say so, but I can't really atone for it if I don't know what I did.
I like him. At least he's honest. It's simple, ladies and gentlemen. He will say, as he throws his sword, and it will rip through Siren's shoulder and embed in the cross behind him. And he'll hold up his hands as the sword will fly back to his fingertips through midair, and he'll say, I'm beaten if you renounce me.
We don't renounce you. No.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? Sketches smile.
It's not possible to renounce you. That would imply that we believed ourselves to be perfect and incapable of an error. That's not possible with any of the sins.
Pride is one of the most human of the sins. We're so close to you. We do our best not to allow you to control us because, well, without control, we often fall to chaos.
And we probably wouldn't have been
close to you.
And we probably wouldn't have been able to even learn any of the knowledge from our mistakes if it weren't for our failings. So
we do require you, but we also require the failings that come with you. If we don't,
you don't like to acknowledge them, do you?
As you keep saying, we require you, we need you, he almost appears to grow slightly taller, or he stands slightly straighter.
Does it mean you have full control of us? Yes, you're necessary, but it's kind of like having your pinky. You need to always use it, but you kind of need it. It's something you start to grow out of as you get older.
And the fact you know that
you're like a growing kid
drives you mad. You need us as much as we need you.
Yes. I am probably the most human of my brothers and sisters, which is why I've always stood above them. But, once again, and he'll throw the sword again, and he'll punch through his other shoulder. I'm sick and tired of playing the waiting game. The next one will go through his throat.
What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
Well then, if you're so ready and tired of playing the game.
Hang on, to answer that question. Okay. I'm going to give everyone here a bit of a lesson, and I think it's something that you may have overlooked. How did Lunacy, or the Mad Hatter, leave this place?
He left in Alec's dead body.
Yes. How was Greed going to leave this place?
In Siren's body, yeah.
No,
through...
not Siren's body. No,
through the ring.
Yeah,
Lottie's body.
Through Lottie's or Eric's.
Ding, ding, ding. You can
flying around so we can still Siren.
You can actually piece together the fact that the only thing that's keeping him here is the fact that even if these wards go down, maybe he couldn't survive in the real world, and maybe he has no real physical form there. This is a Horizon realm where rules are different. He needs something to piggyback on.
Are you Sketches just suddenly say very calmly, are you afraid?
The eyes will flick around as the sword returns to his fingertips, and he'll say, I don't fear.
You're afraid. You're afraid. You're afraid without anything to cling to, you won't make it, will you? And that terrifies you. If you're so prideful, admit it. After all, you're so much above me.
Like, without having to lessen your stride to, but having to debase yourself and picking back off of us, why don't you just walk ahead? You're the best of them. You're the most human of them, aren't you? Can't you do it?
His eyes flick around. He appears to be somewhat as if he's struggling for an answer to the question. as if he's trying to piece together an answer that he can answer without it affecting his face.
Hey, Pride. I double dare you to do it. Just walk out of here without having to latch on to us.
And what
You're
would
the
your,
best of them, aren't you?
and your brothers and sisters would be so happy that you did it.
Daniela pulls out her phone and films him and says, "Here." I'm sure everyone would love to see it.
You can totally do it, can't you?
And hey, there's only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. 7.
He will look at all of you and he will say, I am Pride the Avarice. Or sorry, I am Pride the Hubris. Nothing is beyond my reach. Do you think I can walk? No. He will raise a finger and he will say, do you think I can walk out of here?
Yeah.
If you say so.
If you say so, Hubris, walk out here without anyone's help. Anyone.
Because you can do it on your own. You're the best of them. We just finished telling you that, didn't
Does
we?
anyone here have a prime sight?
I do.
Me.
As they're saying that, their breath appears to form primal energy that he's drinking in.
I'm doing the mental link. They're draining. He's draining quintessence from your words.
But
maybe he can't do it. I don't know. Sketch, maybe we're wrong. Maybe Pride isn't the most human of them. Maybe he's...
I don't know. After all, if I was the highest on all high, I'd have left already.
Like Lunacy did? Lunacy
I'm
up and
Sketch
went.
spread his
Gluttony?
hand. Sketch just spread his
Gluttony
hand.
was the first one who tried. I mean, you'd think that Pride would, want to, catch the early worm. Gluttony almost had us.
Lunacy and betrayal.
Me too.
Like he's guessing that Long John is the spirit of betrayal. I don't know if that actually applies, but
like I said, if I was the highest on all high, the most human and the most powerful, I'd have left already without anyone's help at all. Because
you know what?
Freedom.
We were wrong. You know what? I apologize. We were totally wrong. This is maybe you're not. It's a little disappointing, but we thought maybe. But you don't really have much to prove. You haven't done much to prove it. I just dared you, and you still stand here looking so cocksure. But for what? You have nothing to prove. You've done nothing to prove anything.
I'm confused about one thing here. Every one of your brother and sisters we've met so far, well, I don't think Gluttony would have cared about anything other than stuffing his own face, but he's Gluttony. He's basically just an instinct run amok. Everyone else, they didn't seem to care whether or not anyone else got out. Why do you?
Because they are my brothers and sisters. I am the eldest. It is my responsibility.
Wow.
And it would be quite the accomplishment, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. But you haven't really, have you? And you need help to do it. So, I don't know. Lottie. I think we should just leave.
Big bro, you're not really showing your siblings how to do it. No wonder they failed. Can you imagine? Maybe they look up to him too.
His face
figuring, if anyone can do it, maybe they can.
His cheek starts to twitch. Like, as if any of you have a mind sight up, oh Nelly, is he losing his cool.
Okay. I mean, I'll tell you what, Greed was probably closer. Greed was
probably closer. I kind of feel bad for them now.
I mean, he actually
not really having a good example.
I turn off recording and I just say, he's not going to do anything.
Nah.
And I just walk away.
Let's go, guys. Come on. Yeah, let's leave.
We need to spend our time with something more productive.
Yep.
I kind of feel bad,
You think
all those little sins.
You'll actually see black start to leak from his mouth as he laughs. And he says, gluttony, the insatiable. Lust, the irrepressible. Greed. He starts to choke on the words. Greed, the avarice. Envy, the inscrutable. And you just kind of, at the moment, the room starts to shake. Sloth, the docile.
All led by such a bad example.
Brothers and sisters. You'll see his head snap back so violently you can almost hear the spine crack. And he says, I love you. Oh, I sacrifice you for myself. At which point the book explodes in a pattern of fire that ignites into 6 different colors.
Is one of them orange?
Yes, one of them is orange. At which point they all wrap around him and they start to dance and they start to play, at which point they ingrain themselves into his being. For those of you, does anyone have spirit sight?
Yep.
Okay, how to describe this? They're knitting with his soul. At which point, when it is all said and done, a new figure stands before you. Lost is Edmond Dantes. A black cowl over their head and a white porcelain mask. At which point they look at you and they seem to say in a multitude of different voices, I am sorrow, the mournful. At which point they extend their hand, and you see them rip Siren's soul and avatar out of his body.
Is he just holding it, or did he eat it?
It's coming towards him as if they mean to eat it.
Sketch is like, well, it's all good to go according to plan. Well,
I just love the side chat. Fuck, we did it. Oh no, we fucked up. Yep.
We did it. No. Oh no, we did it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the matter? She'll kind of say to Sorrow.
You still needed your siblings' help. And I'm guessing Misery loves company?
The 7 pages from the book fly onto their costume and knit themselves into the black folds as it raises the hood. And it will say, I am the Forgotten One. I am all and nothing. He will extend his hand, or it will extend its hand, as it doesn't truly have a gender anymore. Hi, Sketch.
Oh,
Hi,
hey. Hey.
Sketch, what is your most traumatic memory?
Finding his father dead in a bin when he was 15.
Sketch, you are standing back on that same street. You are young Sketch. And you are looking down at your father's body. But you can't break away. You can't blink.
Oh boy.
From our perspective, is he just standing there, shell-shocked?
Yes. I will also point out this is not a mind effect. This is an illusion. You can all see this. It literally crops up in the middle of the room.
And we still see...
Why are you doing that?
What is reach?
You failed him. You couldn't keep him safe. You little boy who cried out your tears.
Sketch's face was scrunch up.
Yuki is gonna walk in front of Sketch. Hey.
Didn't know.
Hey. Sketch. Can you hear me? Can you hear my voice?
You can hear him.
Oh yeah, you know, I mean, just the sheer shock of it, you know. He'll eventually kind of, his eyes will blink slightly. He left us. I didn't do anything. He just left.
Can I try a thing, actually? This might take a couple rounds to try, but I was wondering. It's creating an illusion, you said. Not a mental one, but a physical one.
Correct. The illusion is physically there, if you understand. It's essentially what would be if you were to mix mind and matter in order to mind, matter, and life in order to create a physical illusion.
Or forces in prime.
Hypothetically,
yes.
Since we have access to the mind shield and everything else, could I, by chance, if they're willing, basically give people a consensual illusion using mind? Essentially, like replacing whatever physical illusion it's trying to traumatize us with, just be like, nope, we are in a blank white construct.
Yes.
Okay. I will start working on that.
All the time, Siren's avatar is passing through the wards and his soul.
And she'll go to Sketch. She'll say, hey, you all right?
Yeah. It wasn't my fault.
Of course it wasn't.
No.
You'll be okay. Right?
His last words were wishing for you.
And we'll take good care of you, okay? I guess where that wish came true.
The voice will change. Sketch.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no.
Oh, what do you hit me with now?
It's the voice of your father.
Oh,
As
Jesus.
it says the words, Wes, you can tell the voice is pained. It is hurt. It is hurting. It probably is the last gasp. And he says, where's my boy? Where's my boy? And then there's a sigh.
And we can hear this?
Yes.
Eric closes his eyes and shakes his head. That's brutal. He looks it over to Sketch.
Remember when we were in the Shadowlands?
Yeah.
And the stuff outside looked like your mother. And I told you spirits do that sometimes. They want to lure you out. It's the same thing here.
Okay, I've got three to kick off the effect. I've got 2 for duration, and 1 for each person. That should be enough, right?
Yes, my apologies. Sorry, somebody sent me a message. That is more than enough.
Okay. It's probably going to take another round or so for him to kick it off. So sorry.
It wasn't my fault. It's like basically not trying to cry as he just balls his fist. He left. I had to take care of her.
Of course you did. It was your responsibility too, but you did.
At which point, Sketch, and I'm really sorry.
Oh no! I know who you're throwing at me. Go on, do it. Give it to
Hi,
me.
Sketch.
Yep.
Your little sister, Sketch.
Oh,
no.
fuck me. Here we go.
You see her standing in front of Sorrow with Sorrow's black hands on her shoulders as tears stream down her face. as she slices open her wrists.
Oh no.
And at that moment,
I have to be willing, don't I?
Otherwise you would actively be resisting.
Nope. I'm looking at it. He looks at it.
Oh.
He looks right at it.
The reason, for the record, so you could put it on an unwilling target, but then that would mean their willpower would come into effect.
And that would be a different form of rolling, yes. Okay.
It would be +5 instead of +3. Right?
It's something like that. It gets silly.
Yeah.
It's got a pop-up window sitting there like, would you like to enter the construct? Please enter the construct.
You see
no one be +5 would be different.
Streaked with tears, blood spatters everywhere.
Stares at it.
I now have to declare the scene Black Dog because I'm having people kill themselves on camera.
I mean, it's the thing he is dreading the most in his life, that he won't be able to come back and he'll find her like that.
Eric gets over to Sketch and stands in front of him, snapping his fingers in front of his head. Sketch, focus. This is not real.
He's trying to tear you away from her. But you can't hear what she's saying anymore because it's a white construct.
Yeah, exactly. But he'll again snap his fingers. Sketch, you need to listen to me, okay? I helped you before. I want to help you now.
It's because of him she died.
This is not real. Okay?
Okay. I go for the concentration merit. But anyway, Sketch stares at it like hard.
Hey, Evan, can I roll a charisma expression to try to get Sketch to focus somewhere else?
Yes. Also, if people wish to make me an intelligence academics roll, they can. DC would be 6. You will require 3 successes.
Well, which do you want first, the charisma or the academics roll?
Realistically, make the academics roll.
Okay. Intelligence academics.
Intelligence academics, standard difficulty requiring 3 successes.
Ooh, I got
3.
For once, I succeeded that.
All right. For those of you who succeed,
2 successes.
What would you say the direct antithesis of sorrow is?
Joy.
It's showing you your worst memories. How do you fight it?
Eric looks at him and says, Sketch, you need to listen to me. This is not real. This is an illusion. Focus on good. Focus on good. Think of the best moment you ever had and focus on that. You need to focus and listen to me. 6 D10. I'm going to assume that my reassuring specialty comes into play.
Yes, it does.
Not that it would help much, but I did get 2 successes.
I mean, there's this guy trying to talk to you, Sketch. Do you choose to listen?
He'll look up. His eyes, he's probably one eye is definitely looking at him in his peripheral vision. It's like he's trying to acknowledge what it says. It's just that eye that just sees, the marks on his sister's skin, the marks on everything. And then as Eric is still chatting to him and come on, focus on a different memory, focus on the happier memory, he closes his eyes and takes Jules' hand and just he squeezes to the point where he's drawing blood out of her hand.
And she will squeeze his hand right back.
As he eventually closes his eyes, blocking the image out. And we'll eventually start thinking, he's physically shaken. He's shaking badly, and then we'll open his eyes again. I don't need to see that anymore.
The figure quirks its head
slowly away. I don't need to see that anymore.
That's right. You don't.
You've got Jewel. You've got us.
It will dismissively wave its hand. The illusion will disappear as it turns, as Siren's soul and avatar is almost upon it as it opens its mouth.
And at that moment, since I got the successes, I know the joy thing, right?
Yes.
Can I basically tell people to think about like their most joyful thing and then basically tailor it so that their illusion becomes that, essentially? Basically letting each person who accepts this relive their most joyful moments.
It's not necessarily, bear in mind, that Sorrow can't see what you're showing. So
no, but they feel the emotion.
You theorize it might be more about combating it with joy, like as in spitting the word, like spitting happiness at it, as opposed to people feeling happy.
And actually, Sketch is going to whirl right at Sorrow. The fact that I can accept that I gave Annie every bit of happiness is what will keep me from turning away from that. I gave her all the happiness.
A bright pinprick of light explodes from Sorrow's chest, acing both ways as it turns and hisses.
You know, shit, when you kind of look at it, you look pretty awesome. It's so cool. Oh my god, dude, do you hear what it sounds like? It's so fucking crazy.
Do you know that this is the best place in the universe? It's full of knowledge and sharing. Do you know how many wonderful things are here? So many wonderful things. Happiness, joy, excitement, adventures, discoveries. The sound of discoveries you're standing upon. How can you bear that?
You get the impression that doesn't seem to bother it as much as your own personal feelings of joy, because those are the most powerful slings and arrows you can throw at it as it starts to advance.
No, Eric says to everyone with a big smile on his face, everyone always thinks that medical school is just studying, no fun. But I remember this one time, I can tell you some nice stories about this one time I was in the I was out partying with my friends. That was hilarious. It actually involved a donkey and one of our professors.
That's already got Eric chuckling, actually.
Another arcing beam of light will punch through its face, this time cracking the porcelain mask as it hisses again.
You know, what was your guys' the best dream you guys have ever had when you were asleep?
Owning my own company. And I achieved it.
Awesome.
Time machines are great. My best dream. Flying is great. Eases the soul. You want to know what's the best thing that's ever happened to me in this library? I sat down and Siren had needed me to find some sort of book, and I spilled over it hundreds and hundreds of. And it was the funniest thing. Me sitting there, and I was sitting on top of the book I was looking at. Me lifted me up and book with the tip of his foot and laughed, and he just patted my head. It was the best thing, you know. He just always understood, and it was great to have a mentor that just always understood you and laughed along with you when you were being really silly.
There is a shattering sound. However, more light doesn't appear. However, you will notice the wards surrounding the figure are broken apart.
Hey, Sketch. You remember that night I came to your house and I was talking complete nonsense?
Yeah. Smile.
I don't think I ever really knew what happiness was until then.
Aww. That's so cute.
Heart emojis fill the chat.
This kind of pales in comparison to it.
You know, as
nice.
As chaotic as this whole adventure's been in this place, you guys have been a riot. Like, hands dealing with each other's issues, but kind of coming out of it. It's kind of the friendship is magic kind of deal, you know?
Sketch gives that like bashful like, you know, like his face
Oh
goes
my
like
God, you
red.
tried
You know
to
what I mean?
throw that guy. It was great. You literally tried to throw them. I was, yo. Oh my God. I thought I might have busted a gut if I
It was pathetic.
Oh my God. It was hilarious. And I did not know anything about Lord of the Rings, but Sketch, you really got to show me some more.
Oh, we're all going to marathon those later.
The
Friendship
figure
is magic, man.
screams. The figure screams again as it falls to its knees. There's a kind of a ruffled hiss of its robes, the silk meeting the floor. At which point you will hear, around you the kind of the sound of books snapping closed, like as in, and the light streaming into the figure becomes more and more profound. Continue.
Oh my God. Do you realize something, guys? We wouldn't have had this wonderful adventure without them. It's kind of weird.
That's kind of weird.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Can you just imagine? But like, I got closer to you guys. Like, I finally know the difference between the Erics. My apologies.
Eric-
That's a lie. There is no difference.
Hey, Elder. I'm really sorry I got mad at you. Honestly, we couldn't have known. And you know, it's nice to really get to know you too. I promise I won't hit you or haunt you.
You know, Daniel, you're pretty cool. Sketch with this nod, you know, you're pretty cool.
I'm actually
dig
happy
it.
to know that what I thought of other mages, it's kind of changed a lot since I've been here with you guys.
We are pretty awesome.
I was
Okay.
We should do
I only came into this some like very short time ago. Eric says with a smile, but the loyalty and the friendship I've discovered is beyond anything I've ever experienced.
Sketch open his hands. Come on, guys.
Each
Come on,
time,
guys.
Group
Oh my
hug.
God.
Group hug.
Group hug. Can we get a group hug? Oh my God.
Yeah.
that is because each time each of us extends our hands in friendship, you hear a voice say behind you as a figure kneeling on the ground stands up. Each time our souls dance with one another, his head rises. We become less ourselves and we become more of one another, he will say as a corona of white and golden energy appears around him. We live not for ourselves and the selfish actions of one another. Not the selfish actions of our innermost selves. We live for the greatness of all together, one community, bound in hope.
And we shall all come together in a better place than this.
Simon stands up, his wrists still bleeding. As you can see, he's forced his hands free, and that's how he has fallen. Or his wrist forced his arms free, and that's how he has fallen. He says, and with every breath, with every sanctity of thought, with every sovereign moment we are given in this world, we deny sorrow in the pursuit of joy.
You know what my joy is? Eric says, looking around at people, helping, and then he heads over to the. Is the crucified figure? Is that is he like free now? Can he interact?
Yes, he clearly done a lot of damage to the tendons in his wrist because he's literally yanked himself through the nails, basically.
Yep. Eric heads Eric rushes over to him and again tries to help.
He falls to it. He literally, as Eric gets there, he's so physically weak he falls forward. Like you're gonna have to support his body weight.
Lottie gonna go help him.
He will call over to the other guys. Guys, please help me.
Is there a page anywhere?
No, there isn't.
Okay.
However, the book is open and still on fire.
How many?
You theorize maybe closing the book.
I will close the book.
As you do so, a lashing of energy attaches to your hand, but you alone are unable to close the book.
I need help.
Yeah, no good.
You all have to go do
We're
this
all-
bloody thing.
Get over there and drag Siren with us, everyone.
So, how many success? How many, Evan? How many successes to get this thing going?
Realistically, we're at a point in the story where it is probably more important for you to do other proactive things that aren't standing there concentrating.
Okay. In that case, he will like say, "Okay, we can do this later. We need to get going," and
All right.
he will support his body weight.
All right. Well, more like you and Lottie will, because Lottie
Yeah.
was like, "I'm not
Lottie was
leaving him.
there, so-
He's mine
Yeah.
now."
Yeah.
My precious.
I mean, maybe.
As one, every one of you place a hand upon the book. It feels as though it is a great weight, a weight of nearly infinite pages. However, as each hand places upon it, the weight reduces and gets lighter. Until when all of you together move, when all of you together in one moment, when your hearts beat as one, the book will be closed. The figure will scream once more as their dark body is consumed by the light that glows within each human heart. And they will be banished from the world as the book itself sits closed.
At which point the illusion is probably going to dissipate. We're back to normal.
Siren, for his part, will basically very, very weakly pick up the book and clasp it to his chest. And he will say, "I'm very..." He contemplates, "proud of you all."
Did you just make the pun, Siren? I see.
Well, I might be dying, but then again, where would we be without puns?
And you're not dying.
Giving us tea that easily.
You're not dying, Siren. We did not go through all of this just to have you die on us. That's not how the story goes. You're
He
not
will
know it later.
He will open the book again now that it's been closed, and he will flick through the pages, and you will see the figures whom you banished one by one, each one of them now locked in a page. They are still moving. They cannot speak. You see them pace around as if in cells, eyes gleaming with nothing but hatred. And on the cover, you will see a dark, spectral shape who wishes nothing more than to drink you all away, for sorrow consumes everything in its path. At which point he will nod and close the book, and he will say, "Well," he seems to think for a second, "I want pancakes."
And if we can get you panched up, you can have pancakes and fruit, and also maybe Belgian waffles.
I think I could manage to make pancakes.
He will reach out a hand. He will restore everyone's quintessence pools.
Oh.
Nom, 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 nom.
And he will say, "Come, let us be away from this place."
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, that seems like a really good idea.
Things that are locked in here are locked in here because they're dangerous. They may take on shapes that are pleasing, but they all represent something dastardly. You managed to fight your way through them to me. I'm endlessly impressed.
Siren, I do have one query.
Yes.
It's just what the fuck are you doing down here alone at that assistance? Mister, there are rules, Lottie. You can't just going around alone in the private section. It's dangerous here.
In all honesty, it was because had I not, they would have spilled over into the rest of the library. The spirits would have been disturbed and everything would have fallen to darkness, for just as this place represents some of the worst idealisms, the worst manifestations, and the worst vices of humanity, so in other places in the library are its virtues, its creativity, and its bent towards the advancement of man held. And if those were corrupted, well, that would end in a very sad place. My life is a small price to pay. There'll always be another librarian.
Says who? There's some people here who quite enjoy you.
Yes, and he'll tussle Lottie's hair and he'll say, and when I'm gone, you'll take it over.
Ah! You know what? You're bleeding heavily. You haven't eaten. You've been prisoner for like... Eris's left tit nose only. We're gonna get you some food. We'll talk about this. Let's get you some food. No apples for me, but we'll get you some food. Come on, let's get you some food. Obviously,
All right, boys
bleeding
and girls.
to death.
If everyone's happy with that, we'll end the scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, if you ever have any, for watching. This has been the ultimate scene in the 7 Deadly Sins plotline. I hope that everyone enjoyed themselves and have a pleasant evening.
That was good fun.